Eddie Alvarez, former champ. Anthony Pettis, former champ. Justin Gaethje, former champ. Eddie Alvarez, former champ. That's 4 champions in a row. What else do I got to do? This is like my 23rd fight in the UFC.
The ultimate goal for most MMA fighters is to become a world champion. But in order to do that, you have to first be granted a title shot. While some fighters work their entire career for that chance, others have been gifted title shots without having actually earned them. So for this video, we'll be looking at a list of fighters who either due to inexperience or lackluster records were handed title shots they didn't deserve. As always, if you guys enjoy this video, then please be sure to let me know by leaving a like and subscribing to our channel. Now, in no particular order, here's a list of some of the most undeserved title shots in UFC history.
Let us begin.
Number 1. Brock Lesnar. Despite having no MMA experience, Brock Lesnar did surprisingly well during his run with the UFC. Still, it was clear to absolutely everybody that he didn't exactly earn his shot at the heavyweight champion Randy Couture.
You've had 3 fights, if I remember correctly, and you lost one of them, and people have asked, why are you even fighting at this point for the heavyweight title?
That wasn't my decision. That's Dana White's decision and the company's decision to, obviously this is a business, and I think they understand that, and they put on fights that people want to see.
With just 1 win inside the UFC, Brock Lesnar was granted an immediate title fight with Randy Couture, defeating the much smaller Couture by TKO in the 2nd round, and rather remarkably, even managed to defend his belt twice before taking a leave of absence in 2011. But whether or not he could beat Couture doesn't change the fact that he never deserved to be fighting for the title in the first place. Number 2. Germaine de Randamie. In 2017, Holly Holm was set to take on Germaine de Randamie for the Women's Featherweight Championship, and in all honesty, neither of them had really earned a chance to fight for the title. Fans were already put off from the fight when it was reported that Cris Cyborg, someone who ruled over the Strikeforce featherweight division, would not be fighting for the title. To make matters even worse, Holly Holm was coming off of a 2-fight losing streak, whilst Germaine was ranked number 10 in her division, with her last 2 victories coming against opponents who had never won a fight in the UFC. Still, they fought, with Germaine winning the fight in a highly controversial decision. Number 3. Matt Serra. Whilst it's true that Matt Serra pulled off one of the greatest upsets in MMA history, he quite frankly didn't deserve to be fighting for the belt in the first place. In a controversial split decision, Matt Serra won Season 4 of The Ultimate Fighter, and in doing so was granted a shot at the welterweight champion George St-Pierre. Having lost 3 of his last 6 fights, fans gave Matt Serra little chance of winning. But in a shocking upset, Serra finished St-Pierre by knockout to become the new welterweight champion. It was a monumental achievement by Serra, but ultimately the title shot was unwarranted. Number 4. Nick Diaz.
Nick Diaz, the winner!
When former Strikeforce champion Nick Diaz made his UFC return in 2011, he was set to headline UFC 137 in a champion vs champion super fight against George St-Pierre. However, after failing to attend a mandatory press conference, Nick Diaz was removed from the fight altogether. Although he went on to defeat BJ Penn, he lost his next fight to Carlos Condit in a title elimination bout. Still, despite only winning 1 fight since rejoining the UFC, his popularity was enough to secure a fight with George St-Pierre, which he ultimately lost by decision.
I gotta be the bad guy. You're gonna point the finger, make me the bad guy. I'm the bad guy, now I get a fight.
Number 5. Chael Sonnen. After coming up short in his title fight with Anderson Silva, Sonnen somehow wound up in yet another title fight, this time with light heavyweight champion Jon Jones. Despite Sonnen coming off a loss and not competing in the light heavyweight division since 2005, the UFC decided to simply overlook those facts for the time being and grant Sonnen a shot at Jon Jones, given that he was the only one willing to step up and take the fight.
And when it was all said and done, it was 1 more in the record books, 1 more in the win column, and 1 more for the bad guy.
But as most fans expected, Sonnen found himself completely outmatched and outclassed, with Jon Jones easily finishing Sonnen in the first round. Number 6. Tim Elliott. After winning Season 24 of The Ultimate Fighter, Tim Elliott was granted a shot at Demetrius Johnson's flyweight belt. Whilst the achievement itself is admirable, it didn't exactly warrant an immediate title shot. After all, Elliott had only been released just a year earlier from the UFC following a 3-fight losing streak, and in total had won just 2 of his 6 fights inside the octagon. On the other hand, Johnson was on a 10-fight winning streak. Still, due to a lack of other challenges available, Elliott became the chosen one. He did, however, lose the fight to Johnson in a unanimous decision. Number 7. Dan Henderson. No one can take away what Dan Henderson has accomplished in the sport of MMA. But that still doesn't change the fact that he should never have been facing middleweight champion Michael Bisping. Losing 6 out of his last 9 fights, the 46-year-old was ranked number 13 in the division, and it was a division full of top contenders. Still, given the history between Bisping and Henderson, the UFC could not deny Henderson of one final chance of achieving his dream.
Me and Dan have history, there's a story there, a lot of people want to see it. The reaction to the fight when it was teased on social media was very big, so, you know, I get a chance for revenge.
Although the fight was competitive, it was Bisping who walked away with the win, ultimately resulting in Dan Henderson retiring. Number 8. Antonio Silva. After suffering a TKO loss to Cain Velasquez in his UFC debut, Antonio Silva slowly worked his way up through the heavyweight rankings. With knockout wins over fellow heavyweights Travis Brown and Alistair Overeem, Antonio Silva was granted another shot at Cain Velasquez. This time it was for the heavyweight belt. Despite only being ranked number 5 in the division and having been dominated by Cain during his first fight, the UFC thought he had done enough to earn a title shot. Unfortunately for Silva, Cain finished the fight even quicker than the last one, stopping Silva just 81 seconds into round 1. Number 9. Bethe Correia. Records in MMA can often be deceiving, and this was absolutely the case with Bethe Correia. Although she held an undefeated record of 9-0, she had faced some of the worst competition in the UFC. Yet her brash attitude alongside the fact that she had beaten 2 of Ronda Rousey's teammates was enough to earn a title shot at the women's bantamweight title.
Eu desafio a Ronda a tentar tirar minha invencibilidade. Eu vou aposentar invicta.
Whilst the lead up to the fight was entertaining, Bethe clearly wasn't ready to face Ronda Rousey. Incredibly, the fight barely made it past 30 seconds, with Rousey easily knocking Bethe Correia out to retain her title. Number 10. Randy Couture. Randy Couture is and always will be regarded as a legend of the sport. But that doesn't change the fact that Couture didn't deserve his title shot against Tim Sylvia. Despite coming off of a knockout loss to Chuck Liddell and losing his last 2 fights at heavyweight, Couture was somehow able to jump the heavyweight line in order to take on Sylvia for the title. Miraculously, the 43-year-old Couture dominated Sylvia to win the heavyweight belt. Incredible. Well, unfortunately that's all we've got time for on today's video. As always, if you guys enjoyed the video, then please be sure to let me know by leaving a like and subscribing to our channel. With that said, thanks so much for watching guys, and we'll see you on the next video.
Never have a doubt, do you like me now? Am I good enough now? Should I get more loud till you hear the fucking sound? Oh no, I'm losing my shit again, having to fit again. Man, I'm forgetting when I used to have some friends. I used to play pretend, we all grow up and then hating my phone and trends. I'm about to blow my head, nobody knows I'm dead. Fear I'm a ghost instead, think that I'm close, I get straight comatose in bed. Try to go slow with breath, breathe out my nose and head. Heart doesn't go the trend, faster it goes.